Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Shannon.
I'm Alyssa.
Welcome back to another episode of
B-Movie Bash!
That's all. I don't know what we're doing. It's your turn. We're not doing a movie.
We're not doing a movie. It's been a hot minute since we've done a movie, but honestly, I just can't bring myself to sit and watch one.
It's fair.
Life has just been kicking me in the balls lately.
It's
true.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We can do fun things.
Thank you. Yes. I'm like, I just want to have fun while we're recording right now. So like, I just want to have fun.
I love your gremlin voice.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Maybe all season 2, all 50 episodes will just be no movies.
No movies.
No movies. We'll have to come up with a different
I have
name.
one. I started watching one, but I was like
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. I started watching
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying it's funny.
It's like still at work. It's like still sitting in the DVD drive at work, and I'm just like, I haven't been able to like actually sit to watch it. Plus,
you've been busy.
I think I need to watch it at home because it will not let me put subtitles on it on the computer.
Annoying.
And I can't understand half of what they're saying. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to bring it home and watch it that way. But the frustrating thing is that I can't pause it that easily to like stop and take my notes and stuff. It's just...
You know, I think I can change our name on the podcast website to be not B-Movie Bash anymore.
We'll still have them. We still have them. And I had a couple more people give me some. So, like,
nice.
Yeah, we got ones to watch.
What are we doing?
Today, I am going to be reading you spooky and eerie stories from Reddit.
Oh,
so
I'm excited.
Yes, I've been wanting to do this one for a while. So,
wasn't there something recently that you were like, we should add that specific story to a spooky podcast? Or was it just that we wanted to find
I think we
just
wanted to find more.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I mean, I have my story, but like, you already know it, so I don't know if I want to like reiterate it to everybody.
Stories.
Yeah,
they don't know it, so why not?
That's true. Yeah, but it'd be like,
so creepy.
I mean, I'm telling you the story, and they're just listening. They're along for the ride. It's about you and me. It's not about them.
I will react. Do you know how bad my memory is? I will re-react.
That's true, but just kidding. We love you all. We do this for you, not for us.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Mostly for us. Yeah. And
it's
our like
fun to hang out every week.
7. How many subscribers do we have now?
On like YouTube?
Yeah, I was like, well, like
let me look. It doesn't show subscribers on like Spotify. Last time I checked it was like 15.
Oh, okay.
On YouTube.
That's cool. I like having 15 subscribers.
I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
We have 29 subscribers on YouTube.
That's awesome.
That's something. Thank you, everybody.
Should do like a giveaway for the 50th subscriber. That'd be boss.
Yeah, so get all the way to 50.
Yeah.
Only 21 more to go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yes. So I went on Reddit and I scrolled through like...
It's funny. Sorry.
I went back like 9 years for some of these. So like, yeah.
I was going to say, it's just funny that you are doing that this week because I've been seeing so much like, there's no more big holidays, it's Halloween now kind of a thing. And like stores are starting to put out Halloween stuff. Like
already?
At home
Holy
has
shit.
Halloween stuff out.
Okay, well, that's exciting. See, I'm the person that like I like to wait until August and then because like July is still so hot.
Yeah.
And to me,
July is summer.
Yeah, summer.
August is the beginning of fall.
Exactly. Yeah. And July is, well, everybody talks about how they're like, oh, well, it has to be Halloween, it has to be spooky and like and crisp in the air and blah blah blah. Yeah. And I'm like, do you not remember like sitting around campfires telling each other horror stories and stuff? Like the freaking story that we used to tell up at girls camp about the guy who like who was in a cabin and burned to death and like didn't make it to the, like what was his name? I don't remember his name. But like something Earl, I think.
Earl?
But like yeah. Yeah, no, it was like a spooky story, and then they would take because you'd go snipe hunting and stuff. Yeah, and like, but
all those things that I did not experience.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you should like, you want to go snipe hunting?
You want to go?
We could take the boys have never been snipe hunting.
I don't know what that is. Okay. I know that it's like not really hunting. Yeah, it's like a joke thing.
Yeah, well, so you say you're gonna go snipe hunting, and they're like little like weasel-like creatures and stuff. So you're gonna go hunt these snipe or like they're little snipes and stuff, right?
Sure.
And you tell the girls if you don't want them to come near you, you have to put toothpaste on your face.
Oh.
So, or if you want to attract it, it's like however you want to do it, like kind of a thing. If you think like if the girls are all excited about wanting to like catch something, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But like, and then you take them out there, and then you do something that scares the shit out of them and stuff. And we were gonna do it one year, and we were like all excited but we were at a different place than we normally are because they weren't letting us go up to the normal camp spot. And so we all were like just going to this cabin, just like just your ward only, not all the girls coming together in the whole little like region and stuff. And so we were all excited to do it. And so we go up to go do it. And it's like that night where like the girls are out there hiding, ready to scare the other girls. Like we went out and like figured out the trail that we were gonna walk to like get the girls all scared and shit. Yeah. And they come running back inside, freaked out, and I was like, "What's going on?" And the leader was like, "I think I heard a cougar outside." And we were like, "Oh shit, okay, all right, no cougars, like or like no snipe hunting. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. Snipe hunting canceled." Some of the girls were so fucking scared about it. They were like, "Oh, it's a cougar. It's gonna get in here and eat us." And I was like, "Dude, no cougars breaking inside a building to attack a bunch of like there was like 40 of us." Okay, like it
might walk around for a minute.
Yeah,
it's
not coming in here. No. And so the next night we're outside and I was teaching the girls some of the constellations and stuff. And the same leader goes, "I hear the cougar again." Oh gosh. And I look at her dead in the face and I say, "Do you mean that airplane?"
Oh no.
And she goes, "Is that what that was?"
Oh no.
We had girls staying up to like 4 a.m. because they were so scared of this fucking cougar.
Oh
and
my
like,
gosh.
And it was an airplane.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I was livid. So, super not fun. Yeah. Oh, there was another year we weren't allowed to snipe hunt because one of the leaders said that it didn't bring, like, the Holy Spirit in and stuff. Like, so that because the girls' camp is supposed to be, like, a spiritual thing. It's a church thing, yeah. Church camp. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I kind of get that. And she's like, and I just think it's mean. I don't like it and stuff. So we were like, okay. So instead we decided to tell the girls we did catch a snipe. But what Kaya did is she fluffed up a tampon really big. What? Yeah, they got a tampon and they fluffed it up really big so that it would look like we were holding something, like a little fluff ball and stuff, right? And she goes to hand it to me over the fire and we just drop it into the fire. It just catches and the girls, ah! It was so great.
Sad.
It was sad.
Sad.
Yeah. Well, enough of my stories.
Okay.
So, like, but we could take the guys snipe hunting and stuff. It would be way fun.
I mean, would Zach know what it was?
I don't think so. No. He's never been snipe hunting.
I think they're trying to do a boys camp.
No. And if they did, he didn't go.
Gone.
I don't know if they snipe hunt.
He used to be churchy.
I guess that's true.
I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway.
Okay. So the first one, most of these are just kind of like eerie, right?
Okay.
So I found these on a subreddit of like things that were there and then weren't there.
Okay.
Kind of sings. So.
Okay.
Sings.
Kind of sings.
Kind of sings.
I know it's kind of sings.
The other day I started talking to my boss in the voice.
Oh no.
And I was like, where did that come from? I was like, what? Like, it was really weird.
Don't you hate that? Like, sometimes on this podcast, I'll, like, do weird voices, and I'm like, why did I do that in public, in front of all these people?
Right, I know. You just cringe and just...
Yeah. Just plow through it. Sometimes I take it out in editing. You never know.
You're like, if I'm embarrassed, then they're taking it out.
Exactly.
All right, okay, so the first one. Many years ago, myself and 2 best friends decided to go for a day of mountain biking at Snowshoe in southern West Virginia. Now, this was way before the days of GPS, so we were kind of doing this by some half-assed directions and an old map. But the point is, we got very lost. Sometime along the way, we ended up in a very little town and figured we could just ask for directions. It was absolutely deserted. I'm talking not a single soul to be seen anywhere. We parked the truck and split up looking for everyone. Now this is about 9 to 10 a.m., so not exactly ass crack of dawn, mind you. We went into the post office. Nobody. We went into the only bar in town, which was unlocked, unattended, with music playing, but not a single soul present. We went business to business to business and walked the streets and... after about 25 minutes, finally found one old guy who just seemed to appear out of nowhere, walking down the middle of town alone. The first question we asked wasn't for directions, it was, where the hell is everyone? To which he replied, well, I guess folks around here don't get up much till around noon. Oh. We asked him for directions to Snowshoe, and he pointed to the road we came in on and said, go that way about 10 miles, make a right, and we will find the interstate. We left quickly. We all had a very bad sense of unease about the whole thing. As we left, we were about 5 miles down the road and hit a lady dressed in a state uniform. Not hit, but like...
ran into,
but that still sounds bad.
Ran
so, like,
upon?
Yeah, it's like, came upon?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, so... Like, stumbled upon. Yeah, she just was there. I know when I first read that, I was like, this is a horror story.
No.
Oh no! But no, she just was holding one of the slow stop sign, like for construction. And as we approached her, she turned the sign from slow to stop. And we asked what was going on. She stated there was road construction ahead. We told her of what had just happened, and she kind of laughed and said those people in town are kind of strange, but let it slide. So we actually started talking to her, waiting for the line of traffic to come by the opposite direction. We had actually ended up talking to her for about 45 minutes to an hour, just shooting the shit. Kind of got lost in the convo.
What?
Not a single vehicle ever approached from the other direction or behind us. Eventually, she said, well, I guess it's clear now and y'all can go on ahead. And slowly turned the sign from stop to slow and motioned for us to go ahead. We went straight ahead, the only direction we could possibly go for the next 30 minutes, or 30 some odd miles, and didn't see any signs of construction, state road workers, or maintenance going on at all. She had no vehicle, and we figured she was the flag woman dropped off by the crew up ahead. After the encounter with the town and this woman, we had enough and called it quits. We turned on the interstate as soon as we found it and headed north and home. Every single one of us still remembered the whole encounter in vivid detail to this day. I asked my friends about it actually about 3 months ago at his wedding, and it still freaks him out to no end.
That's weird.
Right? Like, it's just kind of, like, eerie that, like... Yeah.
But also, like, if you're a ghost and, like, you're a construction worker for the rest of your afterlife...
Right?
That sucks.
But, I mean, you get the odd occasion of somebody coming up and you can talk to them for a while.
That's true.
So, like, some ghosts are like, well, my body's dead, like, it's dead in the woods, and that's where I gotta hang out.
True.
And nobody comes by except for deer.
Like, but that makes, like, are you stuck there?
Yeah.
Or, like, I don't know. I don't know what happens.
See, I know that's the weirdest thing is that, like, some people say that, like, your spirit is where your body is, like, located or whatever, but, like, your spirit is where something seriously tragic happened to you, and I'm just like, well, which is it?
Yeah.
Like what does a ghost decide? Yeah, exactly. That's why I love the whole, like, supernatural show, because there are different kinds of spirits, and there's the different, you know, like, that kind of stuff, and it's...
And, like, in ghost hunting, there's, like, the residual spirits that just do the same thing day after day, like, they're stuck in that motion, and then there's obviously, like, active paranormal things that are, like, interacting with you, and so, like,
saying your names and moving things, and,
like, is one just the energy doing it over and over again, and this one is, like, a quote-unquote spirit, or, like,
I don't know.
I want to know!
I know, right?
That's why I do my paranormal shit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one day, kind of along-ish that lines, I woke up to go to work, because I worked at the elementary school, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you guys were home. Everybody was home. They were just doing their own shit, you know? And I go to leave, and I go to get out in my car, and there's no one on no one on the street, right? Which I didn't think too much of, because we just live in it was a quiet
street,
little street, right? I didn't hear any cars on the freeway, but I was like, it's kind of early morning. What does it matter, you know? Like, so I get in my car, I start driving. There's not a single car on the road, which isn't completely weird, given where we had lived at the time. But I was just like, the hospital's like right here, so like you'd think you'd see some cars. Didn't see a single car, but I also took the back road, so I didn't take Main Street or anything, you know. So I'm taking the back roads to work, and I'm driving. Not a single person. No one's out walking their dogs. No kids are waiting in line for the school bus. No other cars are driving around. Nobody's mowing their lawn. Nothing.
Weird.
There's just nothing. And I was like, okay, I'm just hitting like the weirdest times of not seeing anybody. That's what I thought, you know. Till I hit over by the skate park. No one's skating. No one's out there. No one's doing anything. And I was like...
And still no traffic.
That's not weird. A single other car. And
especially
I was like...
with that busy road right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, that's weird. So then I turn on that busy road and I go back like the airport road kind of road that you take.
Yeah.
And so I go back that road. Not a single person, which I thought, okay, this isn't that weird. I mean, this is like, it's mostly construction-y guys and they're already at work probably. Like,
which is hilarious because that road is the most fucking busy road ever now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I'm driving and I'm driving and I'm driving. And then I hit 200 North, and it just keeps on going down Highway 56.
Yeah.
And there is not a single car, no cars on the freeway, because I can see the freeway right there when you get on the road. Yeah. Nothing. There's no cars. The entire time I'm driving to work, okay, I see cars parked on the side of the road.
Sure.
I see cars in parking lots in front of businesses. I don't see people. I don't see the vehicles moving. I don't see anything. And at this point, I'm really freaking out. This is the
apocalypse.
I really thought it was. I really thought that I was
I am dead.
I was like, but you guys were awake. I saw you guys in the morning. So I was like...
I think I remember you telling me this, like, once you got home from work, you were like, dude.
Yeah. And so I was so tripped out. I get to school. I don't see... Because when I get to the school is when the, like, kindergartners and first graders are having their break, and they have their recess out in the front with their little playground out there, okay? And I get there. There's no kids. No kids. And it's still warm enough that they can be playing outside. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is going on? There's cars parked, but again, I don't see anybody. Nothing. And I'm freaking out. And I was like, Is everyone?
Like, if I walk into this damn school.
I also remember I tried calling the school too early before I left for work because my kid had been sick for a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
And it just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. And I was like, well, I'll just go to school, and if I don't have to work, I'll just go home, right?
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal, yeah. And I remember that. But like, yeah, so I get to the school and I don't hear anything. And I was like, I didn't see anything. I opened my car door and that's when I hear the kids playing outside. Like I can hear them screaming and having a good time. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Thank God.
I was so relieved. And I walk inside and there's the secretary. She's like, good morning. And I was like, hey, you must have had a busy morning. She's like, no, not really. And I was like, I tried calling the phone earlier and it didn't ring at all. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, the phone didn't ring. And she was like, what? So I pulled my phone out and I called it and the phone didn't ring. And she was like, I've been here all morning. And like freaked out and called IT and there was something wrong with the phone. But like, yeah.
Did you go into like...
I went after lunch.
Oh, that's right.
So, or like, well, like lunchtime-ish time. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that's not good
for
a school.
No.
That's so funny.
I was like, yeah, but it was so creepy. I like legit thought that like everybody else had just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I had a day like that when I lived over by, I think it was over by campus. Mm-hmm. And I was driving over to my job by Lynn's. And it was like one of those random mornings where like you do not expect it to be foggy, but it's like foggy as hell for some reason.
Right.
And I didn't see cars on my way to work and it was foggy.
That's so like, trippy. Do you remember after we went and saw Insidious?
Oh my God. It was so dark and so foggy.
But like the best part was that we leave our like little tiny theater that they had in town. It had like the 2 theaters and stuff, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
the 2 screens.
It was on Main Street.
So we went to that one.
I forgot.
We leave, we go out to get in your car and we pull up and we see that building across the street, the one that has the red door.
Yep.
And we freaked out and I had to sleep at work with you. So
yeah, that was fun.
Woke up to a child staring at me. So like,
that's a good night.
And I was like, Shannon,
wake up! Yeah, this child needs you.
Because she just kept staring at me, and I was like, hey, or was it a boy? I don't remember.
Who knows?
But like, they just kept staring at me, and I was like, hey,
little child,
Shannon, what do they want? Like, I'm still that way with children, so like, I'm like, what does it want?
What does it want? Yeah. Here's some crackers.
Right.
That's why you're anti-snack.
Yes, that's me. Nope. I give you food and leave me alone.
Give you snacks and send you on your way.
Exactly.
That's what you do as a parent. That's all parenting is.
Yeah.
Feed and play. Let's go.
That's awesome. All right, okay, next one. Okay. When my brother and I were 10 and 12 respectively, our family went on a hike through the cemetery and into the woods not far from our house. My brothers and I would explore these woods every day, even camped in them before. We knew it like the back of our hands. Anyway, as the family hits our usual spot by the creek, halfway through, one of my brothers and I said we'd be back in a few. We wanted to wander off and further up the creek, so we did. We came across a very large hill we had never seen before. It was littered with what looked like someone's worldly possessions, as if they had turned a house upside down, shook out the contents, took the house, and left. There were tons of painted X's on the trees, showing someone intended to cut them down at some point. We poked around for a few when we thought we heard our mom hollering at us. So we turned tail and walked maybe 20 feet back down the hill to where our parents were. The entire encounter was maybe 45 minutes long on our end. As soon as our mom saw us, we got the beating of a lifetime. We had actually been gone for almost 4 hours. She never saw us walk up any hill and remembered seeing us meandering down the straight path by the creek, not turning up a hill that was 20 feet away. She and her husband and our other brother combed the woods for over 4 hours, screaming our names, and couldn't find hide nor tail of us. We pleaded our case and even tried showing her the hill. Surely she was messing with us. So we stomped up to the turnoff for the hill, and it was gone. Nowhere to be seen. For years, we have explored the woods, determined to find that fucking hill. We covered miles and miles of off-path woods. As we got older, we mapped it out. To this day, that hill does not exist. We never found it again. Neither found the weird furniture, toys, clothes, and other household items that were scattered across the hill. We never met anyone in the area that had a clue about the hill. We probably just wandered way further than we meant to, but always found it weird that we never found the hill again.
That's way weird.
Right?
Woods are creepy, man.
I know. Ugh, you never know with woods because you can get turned around so easily. Like,
yeah. Like, we just barely, we went up the mountain yesterday to go to a lake and hang out with some family and
stuff. I saw your pictures, those are fun.
Yeah. And on the way back, we came, like, over Cedar Mountain kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And so it was just, like, birch trees for as far as you could see. And I was like, this is so cool. And then I was like, oh, like, if you were to walk around in there, like, that's all there is.
That's all there is. Yep.
Ah! Mm-hmm. It's scary.
That's one of the, like, when we went up to at girls camp and we had a snipe hunt one night. That was one of our, like, the spookiest things is that we were out walking. And you know those big water troughs that they just leave out there for cattle and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we found one of those. And they had told the girls that there was a plane that had crashed up here, like, a long time ago that was carrying uranium and stuff in the boxes.
Oh, boy.
And that the boxes were left up there because they're not supposed to touch them. Because, you know, they had radiation in them and stuff.
Right.
But then at this point, they were up there and they might as well just use them for the cows. You know? So we were like... Okay.
So radioactive cows?
Yeah, I guess, and stuff, yeah. So we were like, all right, cool. And she was going on about how she was like, yeah, but, like, the pilot, they never found his body. So, like, how creepy is that? Blah, 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 kind of things. They were like, somewhere in the woods is his body and stuff, right? Well, as we're walking along, there's this glowing figure just, like, moving past the trees. And we, like... Everybody started getting really freaked out, right? But, like, Dawn Ray was the one who went to go, like, see what was going on. And she was like, what is that? What is that? And goes off into the woods. And Danielle's right next to me. And, like, we've got, like, all of us girls are, like, staring at what she's doing. But I'm terrified because I'm at the back of the group. And my back is exposed to these woods. And I kept being like, what is that? I don't care what's going on over here. Because I was like, what if it comes up behind us? Like, what... Because I watch horror movies and stuff, right? And Danielle, the other girls are like, Dawn Ray, what are you doing? Come back, what are you doing? And then she steps behind a tree and doesn't step back out from beyond the other side. No, the glowing figure does. And then rushes us. And everyone's screaming our heads off. And we're freaking out until finally they all start laughing and everything, you know? And it was her uncle. She got her uncle to come up onto the mountain, like, to cover himself in glow sticks. Or, like, glow stick, the goo and stuff. Yeah. And, like, yeah.
First of all, I have two notes here.
Yes.
So, firstly, I'm just learning that church camp is really just trauma. Yeah. It's just like, what can we do to these children?
It's mostly, like, we go, like, no joke, we go up there, we hike a little bit, you learn how to read the constellations, you learn what to do in case of a snake bite, or, like, you get your leg broken or something. Like, honestly, and you sing a bunch of songs. I don't remember.
Camp songs are the best.
Camp songs are the best, right? But, like, there was hardly anything we ever did that was, like, church related. So, like, we had... it
was just an excuse to go have fun.
Exactly. We had testimony meeting, and I think that was about it. Like, that was the only, like, real, like, church related anything we did. But yes, go ahead.
So the second note, the uncle thing reminded me of a story that you already know, I think, because you were there.
Maybe?
Question mark. My Halloween party?
Yes!
Yeah, okay. So for you guys, there was one year we had a Halloween party. Thank you, Mom. That whole idea was yours. So. And we, like, made treats and we, like, set up the TV outside in my carport.
Oh, and to me, this was the ultimate cool kid party. Like, I was so stoked I got invited to the cool kid party.
Funny. Like, because that was not the situation at all.
You're kidding me. All the cool kids were there.
Literally,
you were there. Kaya was there. Wasn't, like, Justin there and stuff? Like,
maybe.
Yeah, like, a couple of the other band kids were there. Like,
that's not cool, man.
They were the cool kids in my eyes.
I loved them all, obviously. But
they were the cool kids in my eyes, so, like...
That's so funny. But anyway, so my family's house doesn't have a garage. It just has, like, a carport. So we put tarp along the entire outside to enclose this place. And then we had, like, a bench set up and the TV and snack table and stuff. And we decided to watch The Ring. And it was getting all dark and spooky and we were watching the scary movie. And my uncle lived next door at the time. And he fucking came over with a chainsaw and scared the shit out of everybody. It was so funny. It was so good. I had no idea he was going to do it.
Right?
Yeah. It was just...
You really didn't know?
I don't think so.
He probably just heard that you were doing something like that. And he was like, oh, watch this. Like,
oh, yeah. He's a smart ass like
amazing.
That, for sure.
I love that. But, like, and it was so great, too, because afterwards, after the movie was over... like the next week, we were all coming up to each other and being like, 7 days, guys, 7 days since we watched the movie. Like, are we gonna die? Like,
I think we've talked about this on the podcast, actually. But
I don't think we told that story.
I think we have.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Anyway. Either way.
It was great.
It's a spooky story. Yeah. It's fun.
Okay. Ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. By my hometown, there was a hiking trail that people went to very infrequently. It was along the side of the Niagara Escarpment?
Sure.
So it had some climbable cliffs and some very shallow caves that you could crawl around on. around on. And I went with some friends when I was about 19, 20, and we were just crawling around and found a cave that went pretty deep. We had never been in there before, had never even seen it before. Also, I'm not a cave person. No. You will never in my life see me in a cave that is not at least as large as a football stadium.
Right.
Never.
It has to be decently sized. Like, yeah, like I'll wander in for a minute. Once it gets like dark and turns a corner, I'm like, no.
If I have to bend my knees a fraction of an inch to be able to not hit my head on the ceiling, you will not see me in that building or in that cave. Never. Never. No.
Any movie that starts with people like crawling through a cave, I'm like, you're gonna fucking die.
Exactly. No.
Why are you doing this?
I will never do that.
No.
Never catch me in a cave.
No.
Like, I went to, what was it, Carlsbad Cavern?
Me outside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep. Carlsbad Cavern and stuff. That's the smallest cave I'll ever go into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been over there. I don't know.
Oh, you've never been in Carlsbad Cavern? We went there for a school trip one time. Pretty sure it was Carlsbad's Cavern.
I don't.
Anyway, they like turned off the lights and it was like pitch black, and I've never seen anything that dark before.
Yeah, there's like some lava tubes up the mountain that I have been inside, but nothing I could crawl in. I was like, no, I'm not getting in that space.
Never.
No, thank you.
No, I'm not a claustrophobic person until it's like anything underground. I'm now claustrophobic.
No.
Like, no.
Fuck that.
Yep.
It can flood. It can fall in. I can pass out and die from trauma.
Yep.
No,
There's always some creepy fucking monster that somehow managed to survive because they've mutated and shit. Like, no,
you know what happens when you go into caves? You get stuck like that soccer team and you have to be brought out one by a fucking scuba team. No, thank you.
Never.
Remember that story?
Yeah. Well, there's a guy that, like, he crawled down, and the way he was positioned, he got stuck in there, and he was not able to come back out. His body's still there. They can't retrieve it.
No.
Like, that's so sad. Like, his family has, like, that's where he's buried.
Yeah.
Because they can't get
him
out.
There's, like, so many mine shafts and stuff that people, like, play around in. Yeah. I'm like, are you dumb?
Never. No.
You're fucking stupid.
Plus, there's also, like, monsters aside, there's squatters that live in there and stuff. Like,
snakes.
Yeah, like,
animals.
Just things that are there.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
No.
Never.
No.
If a monster's gonna kill me, it's gonna kill me out in the open.
Yes.
So,
or in the comfort of my own home.
Exactly. Work for it, bitch. Like,
you come to me.
Yeah, you want this flesh, you get here. So,
that's what she said.
That's a shirt.
Yeah. You want this? I hate the word flesh. It's so yucky. Ugh. Ugh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, let's see. Oh yeah, so we had, I'll just go back to, so I went with some friends when I was 19 and 20, and we were crawling around and found a cave that went pretty deep. We had never been in there before and had never even seen it before. So we pushed forward and decided to check it out, even though we had no flashlights.
Dumb.
And this was when cell phones didn't really have the flashlight function.
Dumb.
Right. We stepped into the cave, and it was easily 20 to 30 degrees cooler than outside. Upon looking around, with which light we had, we noticed that it was really clean inside the cave, as in it didn't have beer cans littered everywhere like some of the other small caves did. While in there, we got a really eerie feeling after being in there shortly.
You back the fuck out.
Right?
What?
Hearing weird and strange things, feeling like we were being touched, poked, and pulled, and not having any way to figure out who it was, or who's doing it because it was too dark. We were just using lighters to see what was around us. We were convinced one of us was messing with the others, although anytime we spark up a lighter, we were all definitely far apart, or decently far apart. We decided to hightail it out of there only after a few minutes, convinced to come back with flashlights. We came back out to see that it was now dusk outside. We had entered in what was midday. Somehow we had roughly lost 3 hours inside this cave. We went back with flashlights the next week, but were never able to find this cave again. Which, I mean, that, to, like, you're out there, it's a weird cave system. I'm sure you probably wouldn't able to find it. I'm sure it's still out there and shit, but, like,
yeah, it's so creepy.
Yeah, no.
I don't like it.
Never.
That's the beginning of a horror movie.
Exactly. It is.
It is.
My sisters are going on an old-timey 1920s murder mystery train, and I was like, I have seen that movie. Okay, no thank you.
Do they not listen to the podcast?
Right.
Come on. Some weird ocean swamp monster is
exactly.
going to come out of the water.
Exactly. Like, no, I'm good.
That does sound really fun, though.
It does. It sounds so fucking fun. I would need to, like, what's the map? Are there any bodies of water anywhere near us? Thank you very much.
Can't
yes.
do it.
Do we expect people to be trying to rob the train at any point? Because if we do, no thank you.
Please tell me the script so that I know what's happening
at
all times.
I don't need to know who killed who.
True.
I just need to know who killed who.
Yeah.
Because
just the general story would be great.
The real thing. Yes, thank you. Like, All right, so the next one. So true story time. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had my own room, but I preferred to sleep in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our two bedrooms were at the end of a hallway directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remembered that it was in the middle of summer, and my mom had a window open to her room, which was directly behind the bed above the headboard. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting at the door, or in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open and you could partially see into my bedroom. This was strange because our cat was typically always in bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3 to 4 seconds it took for her to wake up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked back up in my door frame, and there was a man standing by my open door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me through the screen window. Again, we were on the first floor, and it was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed, and we were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led them to believe that the man must have exited that way. The strange thing was that my mom swore up and down that she had locked the door that night with the deadbolt and chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and opened up our water heater closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I know, people can be so much scarier than
than ghosts.
Yeah.
And
spooky things. Like, yeah, no.
Because that's a real person in your house.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Right? Like, you hear your name being called from the woods, you keep walking.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you don't follow that. You know? But some dude waking up, standing over your bed. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Tony showed me the TikTok the other day of these people who had moved out of their house because creepy shit had been happening, I think. And so they had a Ring camera set up in their hallway, looking toward their front door, I think, or a door in a hallway. And they got motion on the Ring camera, so it turned on. And the fucking attic stairs. You saw that one?
Yeah.
And it comes down and the box falls out and you can hear the footsteps of somebody walking down those steps.
Yeah.
But there's nobody there.
That
one's
there.
Ghosty. But I was like, we can never have an attic big enough for shit like that. Because I will freak myself out.
I know. There is an attic, but there's you can't really get into it.
It's beams and yeah, you can't even put storage stuff up there, can you? There's no floor.
There's no floor.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I couldn't. Oh, I would.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to walk on it. We'd probably just fall through. So.
No, thank you.
No. I know. That's one of my biggest. I don't like the squatters things and stuff.
No.
I just.
Yeah, that's that movie that you covered with the guy in the
Within.
Yeah.
But that one to me was so fucking cheesy because I really want to know what fucking house is being built with that much space between the walls.
It's true.
No one's doing that.
That one was dumb.
No one's doing that.
But the idea of that is fucking terrifying. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, there was another one I saw. I heard that one on TikTok, but it was ex-cops are always ex-cops for a reason, kind of a thing. They never just retire, they're ex-cops, you know. And this one guy was telling a story about how he was a cop and he responded to a 911 call where they said that someone had called 911 and the woman in the background was screaming and begging for help. So they got there and they knock on the door and this guy answers the door and they were like, "Oh hey, we had a 911 call from this house," and the guy was just giggling at them the whole time and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was my wife. She's hurt." And they were like, "Okay, where is she?" And so he leads them into the house and through the back and stuff. And so the one officer, the one who's telling the story, is the one who stayed watching the guy who just kept giggling the whole time.
Oh no.
And he was like, "What the hell is going on with this guy?" And the other officer goes into the laundry room or something and sees that there's blood everywhere and that she had been stabbed multiple times. It was laying on a knife and stuff. And so he had called for the other officer. The other officer comes and looks over, sees what's going on. They look back at the guy and he is crawling through their air vent. Because it's one of the bigger ones that just and crawls out, and they weren't able to catch him in time, right? So they go to run outside to see if they can catch him, as the actual husband pulls up to the house bringing dinner, and he's like, "What are you doing in my house?" Oh, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not an officer anymore because of that." He's like, I couldn't take that. So, right?
Now
so
I don't want to live anywhere.
Right? Exactly.
I don't want to exist.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, that's creepy.
So this is the kind of sad one. If you don't want to listen to this one, I wouldn't blame you. So, okay.
Is there like a warning we can put up? Why is it sad? Like death?
Yeah. Death. Yeah. So like if you're not into that kind of stuff. So
like child death or like just sad?
Just sad. Just sad death. Just sad death. I don't want to give it away too much. But anyway, if you don't want to fucking listen, don't fucking listen. Skip ahead. So, a terrifying but true story. I experienced this when I was around 12. I moved to my dad's when I was 10 and didn't know anyone in the area, except for the family my dad was friends with. She was a single mom with 3 kids. Luckily, there was a girl a couple of years older than me. She was 12 at the time when I met her, and we got to know each other a little over a couple of years. We weren't close, but ended up having the same friends. One night, my friend Rob was hanging out with her and her younger brother. They happened to be in the same house alone because my friend's mom was at work, which is where this gets terrifying and sad. Her mother had been helping this one lady through her work and got to know her fairly well. She found out that the lady she was helping's sister was in a mental institution and was let out recently. That night, Rob is hanging out with my friend. They get a knock on the door. My friend thought it was just her mom. She knocks a certain way when coming in and answered it without thinking. Rob wasn't supposed to be there, and he took off through the window to his house down the road. He never thought twice about it. It wasn't her mom. It was the sister of the lady her mom was helping, and she figured out through talking to her sister where her family lived and her mom's work schedule. She came in, and this is where I don't know details, and I'm glad that I don't. But she lists the details in a minute, so anyway. My friend's younger brother got away to the neighbor's house to call the police. The lady brutally murdered my friend a week from Christmas, decapitated her, and left her body naked in a bathtub, hid her head.
My God.
They had to look through the presents, and I don't know where they found it, but they did. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral.
What the hell?
Yeah.
People are weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I was like, that one, I was like, oh, holy shit. I think I need to add that one, but holy shit.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all the stories, because I figured we had spooky stories we could tell too, kind of a thing. So yeah. So my spookiest story, I have 2 kind of spooky stories, but one I'm pretty sure was just me scaring the shit out of myself. So one time I was playing D&D with Zach back when we were still dating and stuff, so we lived apart. My other story involves that too, but so we were just hanging out. I was leaving his house a little late, and we had just played a game where Zach had made this this creature that was following after us and stuff, and it could mimic people that it had eaten or taken a bite out of or something, just whatever, right? And so we're walking along, and we have to walk through these woods that are super creepy and foggy, and you can barely see, you can't see very far ahead of you. If you're 10 feet away from the other person, you just look like a figure. And you're
like a shadowy.
Just a shadowy figure, yeah. And so my character's walking along, and his girlfriend is walking right next to him. And so he takes her hand and is like, okay, stay right next to me because she's little. And he's like, and I don't want her to get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So they're walking along, and she starts tugging on his hand a little bit. So he's like, oh, she's scared, and nobody's saying anything in the woods because it's spooky, and we know the creature's following us, and so we don't want to give us away and everything, right? So but he looks down. This is my girlfriend. It's her. She's right there. So he picks her up and puts her on his shoulders because he's like, this is easier. If I need to run, I can run. I don't have to drag her behind me and stuff, right? And she's little. She's tiny and stuff. And so he's carrying her along. Well, I mean, little to him. He's 6'5", so he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And stuff. So he's walking along, and then as they're walking, they look over and they see another figure walking and stuff. And so they all kind of whoa, what is that? And so he puts his girlfriend down next to him.
Mistake.
And but it's holding on to her still, right? Well, they also have sending stone earrings, so they can talk to each other without talking out loud.
Yeah.
And so he contacts everyone, and he's like, hey, there's someone else here. And the figure he was staring at turns and looks at him, says out loud, what is it, Binks? And it is his girlfriend. His girlfriend's voice is saying that to him out loud, and would have only known he was saying something to her because she's wearing the sending stone, right? And he turns, and there's the creature's face right at his face. So his girlfriend was the creature the whole time because the creature had bit her earlier on and stuff, and so yeah. But the way Zach described it was just this huge, no skin covering the teeth. It's just teeth and like huge smiley face with just like bloodshot eyes and right in front of his face. And it hops back and then scampers into the darkness. And he knows I don't like crawly things. Like really fast crawly things. So that's why he said it and stuff. And it totally creeped me out. I was super creeped out and stuff. And I don't normally get creeped out. Like, but it was just like, we'd been playing for hours. It was the atmosphere. I was all hyped up. I was like, what's going to happen? Like, And it was like late and stuff. So I go to drive home that night, right? And I stop at a stoplight because I have to. It's red.
Because stoplight.
And I'm just like looking ahead and I just get this like chill down my spine and like my back goes straight. And I just have this feeling, do not look out your driver's side window.
I hate that feeling.
And I'm luckily because like I had my peripheral vision going on, but I just kept staring straight ahead. And so I was like, if it's not right here, I can't see it. And so I just kept feeling that something was like up the side of my car. And I was so scared and I just wanted the light to turn red or like turn green so fast. I'm gonna go through this light if you don't change. I was straight up feeling the hair on my arms like lifting and stuff. Like I was so creeped out. I was like, what is that? And I'm like, and I kept telling myself the whole drive home, I was like, this is stupid. You're just spooked out from the game. Like I scare myself more than anything else in the world can scare me. Movies, nothing. Books, nothing. Video games, meh, kind of. But like mostly because those are jump scary. But like I was so scared. I was so scared. And I got home and I went right to bed and I was like, fuck this, I'm out. Like,
done.
So, done.
Tell your other one.
Okay, so my other one is like probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, honestly. And for a very long time, I didn't know what this was until like a few years ago. I was like watching some YouTube videos and I think I figured out what that was. But so again, I'm driving home from Zach's house. It's late at night. We had actually fallen asleep watching a movie, so it was like 1 a.m. I'm supposed to leave his house at midnight, but we fell asleep and his mom came and woke us up and she's like, leave. And I was like, okay, sorry, bye. So I was like, leave. She's way nicer than that. Like she just was like, Zach, get out of here. You know the rules and stuff, but she was like, I didn't hear anything, so I came down and you guys were just we would do that all the time. We'd watch a movie and end up falling asleep and stuff. So like, and the worst is if we would go out to dinner and then come back and try to watch a movie we'd be out. So that's still us to this day.
Just carb crash.
Right? The best thing of all time, Saturday morning, you wake up, you go to Denny's, you eat some French toast, you come back home, you take a nap. It's so good. It's so good.
That sounds like it's great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Do you not do that?
No, I have a child.
Oh, I guess that's true. Sorry. I have 2 dogs, so that's...
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, so that's... Anyway, I'm leaving his house. It's like 1 a.m. I'm a little tired, but I'm driving home. And again, I'm taking that back road back behind the hospital. And there were some, I don't know if they're still there, but like the building, or there was a bunch of apartments. They were in kind of a gated, fenced-in community, but it's not gated. There's no gate. It's like what I live in here kind of thing. Yeah. There's a big brick wall that was along the road there, right? Yeah. And I'm driving along, and it's like 25 miles an hour down that road. So I have to drive 25 miles an hour down that road. Nobody ever does. But I was like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm the only vehicle on the street. I'm going to get pulled over. I will get pulled over. I will get pulled over. I've been pulled over before for not speeding. And the cop being like, what you doing out here? Me being like, driving?
I live here.
Yeah, like, what do you want from me? Like, I took Catherine home one time, and he was like, why are you out this late? And I was like, because I can be. Because
I'm an adult, sir.
I'm driving my friend home. And he was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yes, like, I'm going home. Like, just leave me alone. Anyway, I'm normally a lot nicer to cops, but when they start being asshats to me, I get a little mean. So I'm driving along, and I look over, and I see what I thought was a little kid crouching down against this brick wall, but like with her back to the road, and she was wearing a nightgown, not like an old-fashioned nightgown, just like a white nightgown, you know, long-sleeved, and just, you know, like I thought people didn't still sleep in those, but like I've seen TikToks, little kids. There's lots of little kids on TikTok wearing nightgowns, and I was like, did they still make them?
I guess.
Okay, all right. So like maybe they're comfy. I don't remember. I had an Ariel one that was really comfy, and then I didn't wear again. Like I don't know. I don't remember what happened to that one, but probably just outgrew it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I look over and I see this little girl crouched down, and it looks like she's crying. And I immediately thought, holy shit, this kid got out of her house somehow. Like,
can't get back.
She can't get back. I thought, what if she was sleepwalking and like left her house and she just like totally doesn't even remember where she is? Because she looked like, you know, little, like just
less than 10.
Less than 10, yes. And so like 10-year-olds should know where their houses are if they're walking around their own neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, she looked less than that. So I pull over in my truck, and I I'm looking at her for a second, and I remember looking down because it's dark, so I wanted to see where the handle of my truck was so I could open the door. And I don't know if it was the Holy Ghost. I don't know if it was, like, whatever it was, told me, do not open that door. And I paused and, like, was like, what? And so I looked back up at the little girl, because I'm like, why would I feel that way about a child, right?
Why would I get that gut feeling?
Exactly. And I look up, that little girl is now standing with her back to me, arms at her side.
No.
Just standing and staring at the wall, right? And I was like, I spooked out so bad. Yeah. I got, I had the chills and everything. Like, the hair was, like, I just, like, everything about it was like, I need to nope out of this situation real fucking fast, right? And I just was like, maybe I'll call the cops and tell them that they need to come get this little girl or whatever. But I put my car back into gear and I just drove home. Like,
no, thank you.
Yeah, and I was so creeped out. I was like, what the fuck is that, right? So for a very long time, I was like, oh man, that was so creepy. But then I felt guilty because I was like, what if that actually was a lost little child? And they were just like, why is a truck pulling up behind me? Like, all that weird stuff. And then I had the thought, holy shit, what if it was sex traffickers? Yep. And someone was parked around the side of the street waiting for me. There were cars parked on the street. They didn't have their lights on,
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, you never know. I was like, they could have been waiting for me to get out and go check on this child and then drive up and kidnap me and stuff, right? And I was like, holy shit, that's super creepy and stuff, right? But I was like, okay, whatever. It just kind of went on with my life till a few years ago. I was watching on YouTube. Someone was talking about black-eyed children.
Yep.
And everything about that made absolute sense. It just completely clicked. And I was like, holy shit. I ran into a black-eyed child.
That's so creepy.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
I hate it.
If you don't know what they are, go look them up. They're like Rob Dyke,
or no,
Rob Gavanaugh has that's his new last name, I think, his YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure he still has his video up of black-eyed children, and it's creepy shit, man.
Yikes.
So
I was actually going to maybe go through some evidence.
Ooh, sweet.
I thought that'd be a fun little
That'd be way fun.
Side note, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, I am part of a ghost hunting group called Southern Utah Paranormal. You can look us up if you want. And we've had a few good creepy things happen. So I'll probably add these in post, but I'll play them for you anyway.
Sweet.
So this one, I don't remember where it was, but we always go in, like, introducing ourselves and just saying, we're just here to talk. We're not here to, like in ghost shows, they, like, provoke and, like, they're stupid about it. And I'm like, I'm going to be respectful so that you don't kill me. Thank you. So we had introduced ourselves, and this one is something saying my name. Mm-hmm. So.
Have you ever thought of going in and saying that your name is a different name and seeing if they say it correctly, or like if they know that your name is Shannon?
I mean, I don't know how they would necessarily.
I don't know.
That's an interesting point, though.
It's still so spooky. That's one of my favorite ones
so
to show
creepy.
people. Like, because they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, my friend ghost hunts and she finds things. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, listen to this. Like, yep.
This one's another really creepy one. So we were in a business, and there is a stairwell that you have to, like, leave the business, but it's still inside the building, you know, and it's like just a very yucky stairwell. And they were doing the investigation in there, and they got 2 good clips while they were in there, and there was only 2 investigators, and we know that it's not them saying it. So this one, I'll play it and then we can talk about it.
That camera and the flashbang can't go off. You gotta be close to it to break that EMF field. It's cold. Where's the red on the video?
It's cold.
That's so
Isn't that
creepy.
so creepy?
That's so, and the way it says it, it's cold.
Yeah,
like,
there's like a shiver in its voice. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that one before,
really?
actually.
It's
yeah.
so good, huh? And then the other one in the stairwell, the 2 investigators are talking about the different equipment that they have, and you hear this voice in the middle of everything.
The geophone, or the e-phone, excuse me. I'm not sure. It might be acclimating.
And you can hear, like, Todd starts talking over the top of it.
Does it say, I will look at it?
I will look at it. When she's, like, asking about the stuff, the tools.
The ghost is like, I got it.
I will look at it.
I will look at it. Like, oh, that's so spooky. Who is that? Who's Todd with?
Charlisa.
Okay. Is she the one that always has her nails done really well? Like, she always has her makeup
She kind
on,
of has, like, vintagey.
Yeah, I
look
like
to
her. Yeah. She always looks so put together. Not that you guys don't.
No,
like,
it's true. She
never
always
do.
looks
So,
fancy.
like, yeah.
There's quite a few that are like harder to hear, so I don't want to play any of those. But there was a couple stories. So there's this really really cool museum in town that we have done a lot of investigations at, and there are a lot of old buildings there. And one of them is this cabin that's like super tiny. It's just like a 1-room cabin, and there's a fireplace on one end. And my mom at one point said, "Hey, can you start a fire for us? It's getting cold, it's getting late, it's getting dark," or whatever. And in the recording, you can hear the little coal bucket go ding, like someone like threw a little piece of coal in there or something. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Another story was in the bookstore on Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
So there is like the main floor of this bookstore, which is where all the books are. And then downstairs is just kind of like storage and whatever they want to do down there. Mm-hmm. And we were investigating down there. And we had the main group down there. And then we had some people show up late. And one of the claims was that they see a little girl or multiple little girls playing around and stuff. And so we were investigating for that. We had like candy set out and some toys and stuff to see if they got moved or whatever. Mm-hmm. And these people who showed up late came in, and they came down the stairs and they started talking to us, and they were like, "Oh, hey, who brought their kids?" And we were like, "No, nobody." And they were like, "No, there's 2 little girls playing on the landing of the stairs." And just like, we had to like walk around them. It doesn't really seem like the best place for them to be playing. Mm-hmm. And no one had brought their children.
Oh, that's so spooky. I know. That's so spooky.
That's so cool.
That was the same place we got the flashlight to start doing the cool shit.
Yes.
So.
And then, let's see. I think I'm just going to play my favorite one. So, my mom and I were investigating one of the houses at the museum. And it's one of the oldest homes that's still around from our town, one of the first homes built. And there's like 2 main rooms on the main floor and 2 upstairs. And so we were talking about how we wanted to divide our time. Should we spend 15 minutes in each room? What should we do? And there is a voice that comes over the top of us. And we did not hear it at the time. And I'm going to play it, and then I'll tell you what we think it says.
These are 4 rooms. We can break it up and do. That'll get too loud, though. Why don't you do like 15 minutes in this room and 15 minutes in another room, or half an hour down here?
So
that's
it
one of
sounds
the best
like,
ones you've ever caught.
I know.
Like it's.
So it either says no or go, and then get out soon. Like, it's so creepy. But
yeah.
Yeah. And we did an investigation recently where one of our devices that has lights and sound just kept like going off randomly and like was freaking out, and that was super fun too.
That's cool.
But I think those are some of the good ones.
Well, there was that time I was at work and I was just hanging out. It was a quiet morning. It was October-y, you know. I still had like the candy bowl, or like, well, yeah, no, it wasn't Halloween yet because I had a candy bowl sitting up on the counter, and it was just quiet. I could hear my manager and our head housekeeper talking in their office about just like the day stuff, work stuff. And it's just chilling. I'm just chilling. I'm looking at my phone. I'm not even like, the phone's not ringing. Nobody's coming in. It's just a chill morning, And I hear something. We used to have a bell on the desk before COVID, and I heard something hit the bell, hit the counter, and then scatter across the floor. And I was like, fuck, did a Skittles bag like pop open, like break open or something? Like, I thought candy had fallen out of the candy bowl because it was right next to the bell, you know? And I was like, oh, what could it have possibly been, you know? And so I got up and I went around thinking I'm gonna have to clean up all this candy because I heard it skitter across the ground, and I thought it was a bunch of little like candy skitters, you know? Yeah. And I was like, ugh. And then no, there was nothing except for a little polished tiger's eye.
Little rock.
And I was like,
where the hell did that come from?
Like, like maybe an inch across, like
nickel size,
yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm looking around. I was like, where did this come from? And if you look up, there is absolutely nowhere that this rock could have just fallen from because of the way my like lobby is situated. This is after renovating too. So it's not like it could have just been sitting up somewhere and like a random little earthquake. And I'm a person that I explain things away. Yeah. So like I never expect it to be a ghost. Yeah. Like not until like
every possible
exactly because I'm like, I don't want to be that person that's just like, oh, why did that paper move? Well, the AC just turned on. No, it was a ghost. Like I'm not that person, you know. I'm immediately like, oh, it must have been, because we have how many dozens dozens of earthquakes every week that we just don't really feel.
And how many people walking through your lobby at any time.
And I was like, whatever, you know, but I picked it up and I was like, where could this have come from? It could not have been sitting in the basket. I went and put it in the basket to see if it would slip through. Like if it was like somebody had put it in there and then forgot, like a kid put it in and then forgot that it was in there and then, you know, but no, it would not slip through. It didn't matter how many times I pushed it. It would not fall through the basket.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's really weird. And so I went back and I told Eddie and Sally and I was like, this weird thing just happened to me. And Eddie just kind of laughed it off for a second. And I was like, no, this just happened
to me.
And they were like, yeah, we thought we heard a noise up there. And I was like, it was so weird. And I should have tried to get Eddie to like get the security footage and stuff. But it does like a 72-hour recording. And that would just be a nightmare to try to go through and stuff. Even though I knew the time period, it would just still be a nightmare to try to get to that point and stuff. And but it was so weird. And I still have the rock. And I swear it is a gift from so I should tell that. Her name is I looked her up.
Based off of the news article. That makes sense.
Well, she was the body they found. So I'll have to tell you that story one of these days. I need to like do like really deep research into it and stuff, but like I don't want to offend her family or anything. So
true. We could like change the names or something like that too.
That's true, especially because the kid who did it was acquitted. So I'll just change their names and everything. And
maybe that could be part of our spooky.
Ooh, that'd be a fun spooky October one. Yeah, I can look into it and stuff. But yeah, so I swear it's a gift from her. I really think it is because...
Well, didn't you look up the meaning of it?
Yeah, tiger's eye means like protection or something. And so it's like, okay, what do I need protecting from?
Right,
thank you. And there was another time I was at work and I was just sitting there. I was looking at my phone. It was just a random day. I don't remember like what time of year it was or anything. I was just sitting there looking at my phone and I saw someone walk up to my desk. And I freaked out for a minute because we're supposed to greet people the second they walk in the door. Yeah. And I was immediately, I was staring at my phone and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to get in trouble for that. But like the door's supposed to ding when somebody walks in.
Well, and they're so heavy. There's no way you wouldn't have hear them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have heard them.
Well, there are, like, if the wind is blowing really bad, there's like this little vortex of wind that is in our foyer and it kind of keeps the doors pushed open. So sometimes it doesn't ding.
True.
But I would have heard the lobby door open.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting at the front desk. Like, I would have heard it open. And I was just staring at my phone and I see this person approach and I freaked out and like looked up. I was still kind of sitting down to be like, oh yeah. And there was no one there.
Yeah.
It was so scary. I was like, my heart was racing because I was immediately like, they're going to come up and be like, why are you on your phone and stuff. Yeah. And there was no one there. So, and I'm so sad you guys didn't catch anything when you came like ghost hunting at my hotel.
Maybe we should try again.
Maybe.
It'll be fun.
We did remodel and everything, so maybe you catch some stuff now.
I mean, we got a few little things, but...
Yeah. Some knocks and stuff. We did hear the whistle.
Yeah.
The whistle was cool, since you can't, so...
Yes. I cannot.
Well, that's the thing is I tell people, I'm like, your mom and I were sitting in the one room, you and Tony were in the other room, and I know Tony would not do anything to, like, mess up an investigation, and you can't physically whistle. Nope. So, like, this... Yeah.
That's the best I got.
And, so it's just...
Yeah.
Cool. We should do it again.
Well, if anybody in Southern Utah has a place for us to come do a ghost hunt, just hit me up.
Have you guys done Old Irontown?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you caught anything really out there? Is it just too open?
It's hard to do outdoor areas. I feel like we caught a couple things out there, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and look.
I had an old coworker who said that if you go out there and like park, you'll start seeing fingerprints and stuff on your like car windows and stuff.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and she said that like there was a full on like handprint just like suddenly appear on her window and they freaked out and drove home.
Yeah.
So like
no, thank you.
Right?
I feel like I have creepy stories and I just can't think of anything right now. Like,
I mean, there was the nightmare that I had that time. So I had a nightmare and Jessie was repeating was finishing my sentences when I was telling her about it.
Have you told me about that?
Did I not tell you about it?
It was
about Katie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please tell.
Okay, all right. Okay. So we'll do this last one. Okay. So years ago, years ago, when I was living with my roommates and stuff, Paranormal Activity had just come out, right? Mm-hmm. And we had joked about like the first movie and stuff because you don't know what the demon's called until like movie 3. So it was just like, we were just having a good time joking with my friends, calling the demon Katie, right? Because Katie is, gets possessed. And so like, oh, that's the demon Katie,
It's Katie.
Just being funny, right? And also it's funny to like call a demon Katie.
Yeah, it's like, just, hey, Kevin.
Yeah,
it's
like
just weird.
It's just weird and it's funny and stuff, right? And so we always used to like joke about like, oh yeah, it's being haunted and blah, 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 blah. And we were just living together at one point. And one of my friends was living with us, and she was a pagan, and she got really pissed off at a friend of hers that, like, super, super broke the girl code. Like, super broke the girl code. And so she wanted, like, to punish her a little bit. And so she was just wanting something negative to happen to her friend.
Lilo with her pickle jar.
Yeah, like, kind of a thing, right? Yeah. And so she just wanted something. She today claims that she didn't do it, right? But
there was some weird energy.
She told me at one point she did do it. Yeah, so there, yeah. So I don't know if she didn't do it. Then it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. But like you at one point told me you did this, or that you had the intention of wanting to do it. So maybe that was what it was. I don't know. Something negative came into our house. Yeah. Right. Like, you remember, right? Yeah. There was something super negative. And at first we were all kind of joking about it. We were just like, oh, I'm sure it's just us. Like, where did I put my keys?
Freaking ourselves out.
Yeah, freaking ourselves out. Just like, oh, that's a weird place to put my keys.
And your basement was kind of
It was a creepy place. Anyway, yeah. Well, because like the one room that had the water heater was not closed off from the stairs. And I remember as a child being terrified that something was going to reach up past the stairs and grab me while I was walking up.
Yeah.
And so like, it was just a creepy area and stuff, you
Basements
know?
are creepy.
Basements are creepy. And so we would just joke about Katie like doing weird things, you know, like we'd be like, what, man, where are my keys? And we'd find them in the couch. Or we'd Katie, yeah, we'd be like, oh, Katie, you know, just trying to be funny, you know? And because I was getting a little creeped out. It was weird. We all left. I remember specifically leaving because we all got paid on the same day. So we all went shopping together. And I remember Jessie being so fucking excited to lock the front door because she hadn't gotten to use her key yet. Because either she was home or we were always like, someone was always home. Or, you know, just like someone would open the door, you know? Yeah. Like, we hardly ever locked the door, really, you know?
We lived in a safe neighborhood.
Yeah, we lived in a really safe neighborhood, except for that time I got kicked down. And you know who you are. But I remember her being so fucking excited for that, remember? And we came home and
I lived there.
No, I'm pretty sure you did.
I don't know. A lot of Katie's stuff was before me.
Maybe it was before you. And so we came back and Jessie was like, I'm going to get the door. And I thought it was weird because the porch light was off. And I was like, oh, we probably just didn't turn it on.
Didn't think
about it. She unlocks the door. We go inside. And I go to flip on the porch light and it doesn't come on. And I thought, oh, bulb burned out. Yeah. Whatever, you know. We go to turn on the kitchen light. Doesn't turn on. And I was like, oh, maybe we, like, the power, like, the switch popped, you know? Yeah. So I went over.
Power's out,
yeah. But everyone else's the neighborhood had their lights on. And I was like, oh, so maybe there was a brownout and they turned theirs back on while we were gone. You know, not a big deal, right? Yeah. Again, I am an adult and I tried to explain away everything as an adult.
You're pretty brave in those situations.
Oh, thank you.
You're just like, well, let me grab my bat. We'll go downstairs. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't like being a sissy. And so I go over, and plus I was the only one I think that knew where the fuse box was. Yeah. So I go over and I check them. They're all fine. But I flipped the main one just in case. You know, I was thinking maybe it like was just not all the way over, but I did it. Nothing came on. And I was like, all right, that's weird. That's really weird. But then I also looked over it. The microwave was blinking. And I was like, well, that was for me. Definitely right there. But then I thought, okay, maybe we did have a brownout and it was strong enough that it popped all the bulbs in the house, right? Something. Again, I'm trying to explain everything away. And so I was like, all right, well, how about this, guys? So I looked and we only had like one box of like 4 light bulbs and everything. So I thought, okay, how about this, guys? It's late tonight. We're not going back to Walmart to buy light bulbs. I'll go tomorrow after work, but I'll put a light bulb in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, so we can see in the bathrooms, and one in the hallway so we can see what we're doing, at least into our rooms and stuff. And they were like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Because I'm like, it's in the morning. We can just open the windows.
It'll be
like,
daylight.
It'll be daylight. We can see. It's fine. And so I start doing that. I get up into the kitchen and I go to unscrew, but the bulb in the light in the fridge worked. So I had the door open so that I could see what I was doing. And I am a person that has to do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But I thought in this moment, I'm an adult. I don't need to do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Oh, no.
And I didn't. I went righty-tighty instead of lefty-loosey. And I screwed the bulb in and it lit up. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And I was like, all right, cool. We got one working bulb. Awesome, right? So I checked the other one. And I was like, let's just try to screw it in. I screw it in. It lights up. At this point, I probably should have turned the light off. But like, and I was like,
I should have cut the power. And
I was like, what the fuck? So I go around to every light bulb in the house. They were all slightly unscrewed.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
And Shalise claims that she unscrewed the light bulbs in Jessie and Natalie's lamp that had the multiple arms and stuff. But she's like, that's all I did.
But why did she do that?
Because she was just trying to be funny because it was the lamp they always had on. So she was just trying to be funny and have them be like, oh, the light bulbs. Like, just She's a silly girl, so she was just being silly,
She's just so silly.
She's so silly. And I did that. I went around to every light bulb in the house, and they were all slightly askew.
I don't think I lived there.
Yeah. No, Wendy lived there too. I remember this now. Wendy lived there too because we were all going to bed. Either the same night or the next night or something. And this was one of the rare occasions that I actually made my bed. You know, at my room. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And one of the rare occasions that I cleaned my room and I had made my bed and I went to yank back the sheets and there were dirt and twigs and leaves in my bed. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I called the girls over. I was like, why is this a joke? Why did we do that? Yeah. I was like, I was about to go to bed.
Why did we do that?
Yeah. And they immediately were like, none of us did this. Jesse's freaking out at this point because, you know, she's spiritually whatever and stuff. Yeah. And she was like, this isn't okay. So I slept on the couch because I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm not sleeping in my bed tonight.
I don't know if I would feel comfortable sleeping out in the open living room.
Yeah, though. But I was like, I'm not sleeping in my bed tonight. So I didn't. And so it was just really weird. And a bunch of like other weird stuff was going on. We were hanging out in my room one time and something banged against my window. But I remember my blinds were up. So I went and I looked immediately. I was sitting on my bed and I was able to stand up in the 2 seconds that it takes you to stand up and look out your window. There is no one there. And my backyard is huge.
Yeah.
You'd have to like run.
Yeah, book it
to
from
get
your end on this end of the house where your window was.
You'd have to book
on
it
the other end of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Either they went around to the other side to hide, but like I would have heard them crunching across the leaves.
Yeah,
there was no crunching. It was just a smack on the window. So then I thought it was probably a bird hitting the window. Like I was like, sure. Whatever, you know.
Sure.
Didn't think much of it. Jesse's a little spooked out. Wendy was a little spooked out. Whatever. So, you know, I was like, ha, 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 weird things, you know. Other weird shit was going on. And it kind of got to the point where we all just hated being in the house. Like, it was hard to breathe, you know. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, distinctly remember, I hated my job. I hated working at that girls' facility.
Yeah.
I would wake up in the morning crying because I didn't want to go to work,
yeah.
right? I would have rather been at work than at home any day while all that was going on. I was like, there's way less negativity going on in this house full of girls that have trauma and drug issues and stuff than there is going on in our house. People that I've been friends with for years, you'd see each other in the hallway and just be like, oh, you're home?
Great.
Yeah, cool.
I feel like that happened like later on too. Like that energy came back for sure.
I don't think that
there's
was,
other reasons.
I don't think that was Katie.
I know who that was, and it was not Katie.
And so, it was just so weird. And so I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, because I'm LDS and stuff, I was like, I would really like you to bless the house. Some weird things going on. And I just, you know, he thought we were just being silly and stuff. He didn't but I also didn't want to tell him
all this freaky shit
was going on because I didn't want him to think my friends were being like, you know, devil worshippers in the basement and stuff, you know? And I didn't want him to boot out my friends and everything. Not that I don't think that he would have. He probably just would have been like, stop doing devil shit in my house, you know? So we're all hanging out, and one night, I remember distinctly this one night, I was in bed, I was sleeping, it was a dream, okay, but I remember in my dream, still vividly to this day, that I was hanging out with everyone in the living room, in our dream, okay, and we're watching a movie. I don't remember what was on the movie, but like, it was just, I know we were in the living room watching a movie. Mm-hmm. We were just hanging out, and the books start flying off the shelves, and we're all screaming and freaking out. What's going on? And then the wind just picks up, like there's this tornado going on. Things are flying off the shelves.
This is still the dream.
Still the dream.
Just to make sure.
And flying off the shelves. We're freaking out. We're trying to run out of the room when something keeps grabbing our hair, because we all had long hair at the time, except for Jesse, kept yanking us back down into like the middle of the room. And we were freaking out and screaming and huddling together, and we didn't know what was going on. Ugh. And it was so terrifying. And I was just like, what is happening? And then we looked up, and where the TV was this huge looming shadow just coming up and like onto the ceiling and stuff. Like, it just looked like this huge figure, okay? We're screaming, we're hanging on to each other and stuff. And then another smaller dark figure comes out from where we're sitting, like looms up and then stands up in front of us. It didn't really have an entire shape, but it was just like vaguely humanoid, you know? And it points at the shadow, and I hear it say in a very creepy voice, "You will not hurt my master." Points at me and says, "My master gave me a name, and you will not hurt her." And then rushes at the dark shadow, and both of them disappear. Mm-hmm. And I woke up terrified. Like, I was like, oh man, what a weird fucking dream. That was so creepy. I had a very hard time going back to sleep after that. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
So the next morning, I went out to the kitchen where Jesse's sitting there eating a bowl of cereal. Natalie's getting ready for the day and stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And Jessie looked like she hadn't slept all night long. She looked exhausted. But I just figured she'd been up like playing games, like hanging out, you know, like she did, you know, like she was always online and stuff. So I just thought she had stayed up all night, you know. Yeah. And she's sitting there eating a bowl of cereal, and I come out and I was like, dude, guys, I had the weirdest dream last night. And I start telling them this dream that I had. And Jessie stops in the middle of what she's bringing a spoon to her mouth. And she was like, and then things started flying off the bookshelves and like flying all around the room. And I was like,
shut your fucking mouth.
And then the wind picked up. And, like, more things started flying off the shelf. And she's like, and then we were screaming and trying to run out of the room. Oh. And something kept pulling us back in. And she and I were finishing this dream together. And we were freaked the fuck out. We had no idea how we had the same dream.
Yeah, that's weird.
That or she was really good at guessing what was going on. But, like, she was guessing it exactly what was happening and stuff. And I, to this day, I don't know if I befriended a fucking demon.
Probably.
And, like, but I just... Master is a really weird term, okay? Like,
that's true.
For a dark figure, it wasn't a light figure. It wasn't just like a figure of an outline or something. For a black figure to be like, my master has given me a name. And I was like, ah! Like, and it was so creepy. I don't know. I have no idea.
You should never name anything ever
again. Never again. And so I was just like... And it got weird too after that, because I remember we'd be at the house and things would still occasionally go missing. Like we would be like, where are my keys? Where'd my wallet go? And I'm pretty sure, because people were complaining that we were losing money, I'm pretty sure that was Vortex.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Vortex.
Yeah.
And that was another roommate.
Vortex is a person.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that she was the one stealing money.
Probably.
But, like, things would just go missing. There was a time I went running out of the bathroom because I had forgotten my clothes in the dryer, and I had just showered, and I realized that I'd left my clothes that I was going to get changed into in the dryer, so I come running out in just a little towel, yelling, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look! And everybody's like, woo, you're naked, woo, and stuff, right? And I go running into the laundry room, and I go to flip on the light, and the light bulb exploded.
Oh, gosh.
Not just, like, burnt out. Exploded. There was glass on the ground. The girls had to come over and sweep it up because I was wet and barefoot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't move! Like, and stuff, you know? And just weird stuff. But I remember specifically, if I couldn't find something, I would go, where is it, Katie?
Oh, yeah, you did.
And then turn around, and it would be right fucking there.
Yeah, where you had looked.
Where
right
I had
in front
looked.
Of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, I have ADD. I have a problem with object permanency placement and stuff. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to search for something and it's been right in front of my face the entire time.
Or in your hand.
Or in my hand or something. Yeah. But there's no way it was there because other people were looking for it.
Yeah.
And, like, it wasn't there. It was not there.
And it worked every time you did it.
Every single time.
I remember that.
And it was a joke that I carried with me for a long time, like, you know.
Yeah.
But things were still just, like, super creepy and stuff. And we got Natalie's dad and brother-in-law to come over and bless the house. And I just remember, because I didn't know when they were coming over. They just came over and blessed the house. I was, like, gone to work, and I came back with Zach. And I could breathe when I walked in the door. Mm-hmm. And it was just, like, it was so much better being able to do that. Like, I know some people aren't religious or whatever, but and maybe it's just me thinking that it felt better. But, like, everyone was nicer to each other. It just felt right in the house again and stuff. But I remember there was one time I called you and begged you to come home early from work because I was going to make mac and cheese, and I had this huge pot of water on the stove. It was well beyond the water I needed to, like, make food. But I put it on the stove, and I thought, well, it's going to take a minute to boil. I'm going to go pee really fast.
Yeah.
And I was gone maybe a minute. Maybe a minute. And I come back out. The water is completely gone from the pot, and the pot is now scorching. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy shit. And so I put it in the sink, and I was like, that is so weird. And I was like, yeah, that's really creepy. And then someone started knocking on the door really hard. Mm. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So I go around, and you remember our door, the big glass window?
Yep.
You can see through the door.
Yeah.
There was no one there, and the knocking was still going, and then the handle started rattling.
Oh, no.
I called you immediately, and I said, where are you? And you said, I'm on my way home. And I said, I need you to get home faster. Yeah. And I'm not a person that calls people to do that. Yeah. And I was like, I need you to be here. Like, I need you to come home. And she was like, okay.
Yep. Well, to tag along to that with the whole religious thing, because I don't know what I believe. It doesn't really matter. But when I was little, my first ghostly encounter that I remember, we had just moved to this town, and I was about 4 years old. Mm-hmm. And we lived in this little tiny house, okay? And it was old. I remember that. And I remember that in the living room, you could look down the hallway toward the bedrooms. And it was kind of always a creepy hallway to me. And I had an imaginary friend who came and would play with me. And I remember very distinctly that she was kind of like Professor McGonagall in that she was kind of like an older lady and her hair was like pulled back in a bun. And as always, she was wearing like an older style dress, and, you know, as ghosts do apparently. And she would like come and tell me stories and would play with me. And I just one day started telling my parents about this lady, you know, who came, and they were like, okay, that's not weird at all, but sure, have your old imaginary grandma, I guess. And when I was younger, I went to church with my grandparents and stuff a lot, and I had a picture of Jesus hanging up on my wall. And she asked me if I liked her visiting and then playing with her and her stories, and I was like, yeah, you're great, whatever, sure. And she said that more people would come and play if I took that picture down. And my mom was like, nope. And like a 4-year-old doesn't make that up.
No.
Like,
why would you think that?
No, yeah.
Like, where would you have heard that from? Like,
where would that come from? Exactly. Creepy stuff.
Right? it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
That house.
Yep.
I'm kind of glad that not as much stuff happened when I lived there, because yikes.
Yeah, there's so many weird things that happened, and like I can't even remember everything that went down, but everything happened like really fast for a while and stuff, and it was really, really bad until Natalie's dad came and blessed the house, and then it was like,
well, I feel like about that same time too, like other people moved out of the house, and so that definitely helped.
But like the weird thing too is that after I moved out, like, well, because like you guys were living there wasn't a lot of bad things that happened, and we'd still do the joking, you're Katie, you know, like, where is it, Katie?
We would
like,
joke about it.
We would joke about it,
and stuff,
But like after I moved out, nothing. There was nothing like that happened to me ever again.
Yeah.
So I was like,
follow you.
Yeah. So I'm like, either it's at the house, or it followed someone else, or we did get rid of it. So like, or it got bored. Because I'm not very, like, I literally rewatch Family Guy and American Dad on repeat.
It's like this bitch.
Yeah.
What is she
so
doing?
I'm like, I'm pretty sure he got bored pretty fast, whatever it was. But like, I told one of my coworkers about that, like, because she's like, oh yeah, I can sense spirits and stuff, and so I was telling her about it, and she goes, I think it was an imp, and I was like, what? And she's like, that, or it was a fae, like just something like that got attached to you, and I was like, but aren't those like a fae is kind of like a goodish creature? And she was like, I mean, it kind of depends, like they're trickster, and I'm like, but I was never like felt like it was a trickstery, like, but the worst thing to me about that whole thing was that I was never afraid of it, but you appear to me in my dreams as a dark figure, call me master, and talk in a creepy voice.
Yeah. I mean, if it's on your side.
Right? I know that's the weirdest thing, is that like, I was never afraid of it.
Yeah.
But is that a problem?
True.
Like, is that
a me problem?
Is that a me problem? Like, am I suddenly best friends with a demon? What's going on? You know, like, and just, Zach refused to go into the house for a while because of that.
I don't blame him.
He wouldn't go over.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't get scared of ghosts. I don't fully believe in them and stuff. He's like, I just don't mess with that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like, he does not want to go to Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum. He does not want to go to that.
I want to, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there. I don't know if I could.
It will be fine. We'll be fine together. I don't know if I
could. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot that goes on.
I love the episode of Ghost Adventures where they're like touring the building though, and the lady who, like, it was her house when she was a baby. Her family was murdered in that house. And so he's taking her on a tour of the house and everything. And he's really worried that she's going to think that, like, oh, they're insulting my family's memory. Like, you can see him the whole time. He's like, and then we're going to go into this room right here. And she was like, this was my older sister's room. Oh, my goodness, and stuff. And he was like, okay. And then he goes into this one room, and they had this, like, Volkswagen hippie van that they had taken apart and rebuilt in the room and stuff. And she walks in and she goes, ah, ha, 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 this was my room when I was a baby. And he's like, yeah. Or like, they walk into another room and she was like, oh, and this is where my sister was murdered. And he's like, and stuff. And she's like, oh, I love it. But she was a baby, so she doesn't remember her family super well and stuff. So, like, she went and lived with other family after that. And she was just told stories of her family. So she doesn't, like, remember them. And she's old now. Like, she was an old lady.
It's processed trauma.
Yeah. And it was just so funny because she was like, this is where my sister was murdered. Oh! Like, he's just like, okay. I keep trying to find that episode on
Discovery.
On Discovery, but I'm like, either they didn't post it or it's a Mandela effect where it never actually happened.
We should have
Oh,
a
we
fucking
should.
episode
We
about
should.
Mandela effects because I feel strongly about so many of them.
Yep.
Can't even get into that right now.
We'll do it next week.
But
Or maybe one of these weeks.
one of these days, who
Yeah.
knows? But
Anyway, there's our spooky
There's our
stories.
spooky stories. If you guys
I've been
have-
wanting to tell you guys that one for a long time.
well,
So,
we asked for spooky stories and nobody gave them to us.
Yeah.
So
but if you guys want a part 2 to this,
Yes.
send us your spooky stories. I don't care. I don't care if you think it's paranormal. I don't care if it was some creepy guy trying to get in through your back door. Whatever. Like,
if it's spooky, give it to us.
Yep.
Just fill my soul.
My dad says like the most terrifying thing that ever happened to him was he was like at home. His older sister was babysitting him and stuff, and some guy tried to get in through their front door.
Oh, no.
And his older sister managed to lock it in time, and then sprinted across the back of the house to lock the back door right as he was rounding the corner to like try to come in through the
no.
back and stuff. And so they called the cops from their house because they didn't have cell phones back then. You know, it was the 70s. And called the
scary.
cops, and it was just some guy trying to break into their house. They don't know. He's like, I don't know if he was trying to hurt us. I don't know if he was just trying to steal things, like or
Didn't know we
kidnap
were
or like
home,
whatever.
or- yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, he knocked on the door.
Oh, true.
And she was like, yeah, no, like, but she
this
said,
is why I don't answer the fucking door.
yeah, my parents aren't home. And that's when he tried to get in the house. So, like,
so she opened the door to him?
well, they had, like, a screen door, I think. So, yeah.
No.
Yep. But, I mean, she wasn't an adult. She didn't fully know to be like, oh, yeah, my parents aren't home. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Just don't answer your door.
Yeah.
If you don't text me and tell me you're coming over, I'm not going to answer the door.
Exactly. Yep.
No, that's all.
Yep.
Anyway, that was fun. I
Yeah,
liked it.
it was way fun.
Hopefully you guys liked it too. So, we love you.
Love you.
See you next week. Have
Have
a
a
great
good
time.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Let us know what you think by leaving a comment or sending us an email at bmoviebashpodcast@gmail.com.
You can listen to our episodes on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, and Audible, or you can find the video versions on our YouTube channel.
If you want to support the podcast, you can find our coffee link on our Anchor page. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends.